let's get to it with our first paper by Evangeline Nwokah from Our Lady of the Lake University in San Antonio, USA. The title of the paper is Clowning Around with Names, a linguistic comparison of hospital clown and entertainment clown names. Eva Nwokah is a professor of communication sciences and disorders at Our Lady of the Lake University, San Antonio. Her doctorate is in developmental psycholinguistics from Cambridge University, England, and her research interests are in play, humor, language. She has 15 years of clowning experience in hospital and community settings.
My name is Evangeline Nwokah. I go by Eva, and the title of my presentation is Clowning Around with Names, a linguistic comparison of hospital clown and entertainment clown names. I'm currently a professor of communication sciences and disorders at Our Lady of the Lake University, San Antonio, Texas, and my research interests are in play, humor, and language, especially humor and names in children's literature, family humor, and cross-linguistic studies. Clowns have existed for centuries and often perform in circuses, rodeos, entertainment, and medical settings. A clown's name is an essential part of the clown's chosen character and persona, should be related to the personality of the clown, the setting, and appearance of the clown. Clown names involve humor, wit, silliness, quirkiness, originality, sound, and wordplay, and yet studies in onomastics of humorous names are limited. A study of clown names may inform us both about theories of humor related to naming and socio-onomastics related to the social processes of name choice. This exploratory study examines the word structure, semantics, and language play of clown names using data from 2 clown organizations. About 15 years ago, I traveled to the University of Wisconsin one summer to train to become a clown. At that time, I chose the name Speechy because I'm a licensed speech-language pathologist. When I moved from North Carolina to Texas, I changed my name to Lady Looby Loo. It reflected my wanting to be a very feminine, dainty clown. But also, I thought it was funny, no one would name themselves after the song I learned as a child, Here We Go, Looby Loo. And Lady incorporated my British heritage with a title and elegant twist. I did find there is a British clown, also called Looby Loo. Having been to several clown conventions, I became increasingly interested in the significance of my fellow clown names and the names of famous clowns. A trained clown will choose between 3 types of clown as reflected in makeup and dress: the white-faced clown, the august, and the hobo clown. The personality may be demure, it may be outgoing and rambunctious, or clumsy and inept, for example. A clown's character is typically developed from what is part of a person's existing or hidden personality that's exposed and exaggerated. With the international events in 2018 involving scary and violent clowns enforced by movies and social media, many clowns have minimized their striking clown appearance, especially facially. Hospital clowns have always worn minimal makeup and often just a red nose, as seen in these hospital clowns in Finland. When choosing a name to match a character and appearance, a clown name could be from a song. It could be a word spelt backwards or a saying. The clown might take their own name and modify it. And some clowns choose a name that's common as a clown name, like Buttons. Or they may take up a name of a clown who's famous, like Dr. Fruit Loop, who started the Australian Clown Doctor program. There are numerous websites that are dedicated to suggestions for choosing a clown name. Hospital clowning has become a respected full-time employment or volunteer activities in many countries like Canada, Israel, and Japan. Patch Adams was considered to be the first hospital clown in the 1970s. The Big Apple Circus started its caring clown unit in New York in the 1980s. Skilled hospital clowns may have a theater arts and/or a musical background in addition to their clown training and medical training in universal precautions, patient relationships, and so on. This group in Atlanta, including Dr. Doohickey, Dr. Okidoki, and Dr. Steph Ascope, call themselves humorologists. Entertainment clowns may also volunteer as caring clowns at special events, such as fundraisers for children or at libraries. Some operate a professional business for birthday parties. Some specialize in clowning for adults in nursing homes versus children with special needs. For both types of clowns, part of a clown act is to feign ignorance and appear cognitively childlike in order to make the audience feel superior. This is commonly reflected in a clown name, either with a childlike name, a diminutive form like the Y in Fluffy that conveys the meaning of smallness or endearment, or a nonsensical name. Blanard emphasized that proper names are a special category of vocabulary. The choices about proper names have strong cultural, social, and historical influences and are particularly related to the needs of the social communication within a group or community. Related to the selection of humorous words, Westbury and Hollis, in their analysis of 5,000 words, found that the incongruity theory of humor was applicable to their analysis of funny words. They concluded that the experience of humor is proportional to the degree to which expectations are violated. Also, they argued that words are found funnier if they're less common, and their orthographic or phonological structure is unlikely or unusual. They also showed that such words are partly compatible with the superiority theory of humor, which focuses on humor as scorn. Bucharia has emphasized how the type of genre may make a difference. So in newspaper headlines, syntactic ambiguity is the greatest source of humor. But as clown names are one or two words, we would expect the humor to be lexical or phonological. That is, either sound play or word meaning. Based on the literature on proper names and humor and clown names as the type of genre, my hypotheses were as followed. Hospital clown names would be longer due to the addition of doctor, but otherwise both groups would have similar word length in syllables. Hospital clown names would be more abstract, related to the topics of emotions and wellness, like Dr. Get Well. Both groups would equally use humorous language play strategies with sounds and words like alliteration, syllable duplication, and rhyming in names. So phonological humor would be a predominant source of humor. The last hypothesis was both groups would use diminutive forms to imply a humorous childlike quality and feigned cognitive limitations. The data for this study consisted of 87 clown names, 32% male, 68% female, from the 2022 directory of the Texas Clown Association, and 52 names, 39% male and 61% female, from the 2023 to 2024 Dr. Clown Foundation in Montreal, Canada. Both membership rosters are publicly available online, so this was a convenient sample. All names were analyzed for the number of words and syllables, for alliteration, that is the repetition of initial consonants, the use of diminutives, and rhyming. And the 13 categories were used to classify the meanings of words. When the names seemed unusual or rare or were in French, they were checked with multiple search engines, including the French, English, Collins, and Cambridge dictionaries, Urban Slang Dictionary, and Google Translate. 22 of the Canadian names were French or partially French. The 13 categories were created from an initial scan of the range of names in the data and additional codes added as needed during the coding process. The categories developed are mutually exclusive. They were flowers, food, appearance, animals, actions, real names, modified real names, nonsense sound play, objects or materials, sound substitution in a word, and exclamations, an emotion or facial expression, and then a category of other or miscellaneous for the very few unusual or rare names that could not easily be categorized in terms of their meaning. Each name was rechecked by this researcher to make sure it was coded in one of the categories. The results reveal that both groups had a similar length of name in words, with a mean number of words 1.2 for the hospital clown names and 1.3 for entertainment clown names. However, the title doctor, when that was added, this made the mean number of words for that group as 2. The number of syllables was similar for both types of names, 2.3 hospital clown names, 2.5 for entertainment clown names. And again, when the title of doctor is included, the mean percent of syllables was 3.3 for the hospital clown names. The only titles occasionally used by entertainment clowns were Mr., Miss, and Captain. The longest clown name, that's a hospital clown name, was Dr. Dolores Mamma Mia. And the longest entertainment clown name was Miss Winnie Wigglesworth. What was particularly surprising was the lack of diminutive forms like the Y in Smiley in hospital clown names, whereas names like Loony, Binky, Boopsy, Pookie were examples of the entertainment clown names. 7% of the entertainment clown names rhymed, that is, rhyming syllables or joined rhyming words like Jennabella, Chester the Jester, and Double Bubble, but none for the hospital clown names. But however, there was a similar use of alliteration. So 10% of the names for both groups, like Dr. Frou-Frou, Sure Shot, Miss Motsy. Sound substitutions and reversals were very rare. There was one case of flutterby for butterfly. So sound play was not a predominant source of humor in clown names. For both groups, what was surprising was the wide variety of and range of meanings chosen for names. The most popular types of names were appearance, like lanky, action, like Dr. Guy Move, Dr. Turbulence and Wiggles, and food, like taco. Exclamations were more common as hospital clown names. Name modification included modifying the clown's real name, such as Green to Greenie. Using objects or materials as names was much higher in hospital names than entertainment clown names. For example, as shown in the pictures here, Dr. Vadrulil and Dr. Perello for pedal boat. Food names were also higher in hospital clown names, and the types of food were different. In French, food items like Dr. Poischiche was chickpea, there was potato, tomatoes, and then here you can see Dr. Chouquette, a small French pastry puff, and there was Dr. Panini. The entertainment clown names were mostly sugary. They included Lollipop and Miss Cookie, as shown here. So, hospital clown names were not abstract and focused on wellness. It was quite the opposite. Although there were not more words related to health and wellness in hospital clown names, there was this difference as mentioned in the number and type of exclamations, like Dr. Okay, Dr. Ole, Dr. Oops, and Dr. Ay, that could be related to medical situations, compared to exclamations in the entertainment clown names that were touche and fiddlesticks, for example. There were more animal names in hospital clown names, and they included Dr. Frog, seen here, and Dr. Fly. Some clown names, particularly the hospital clown names, had double meanings. For example, Dr. Pompidou is the last name of a famous French statesman, but the meaning is living life on the edge. With Dr. Fifi, the verb fier in French means to be stupid, but Fifi is also a diminutive form of the name Josephine. Schatzi is of German origin from the word Schatzi and means love and is a term of endearment. But in the US, it also refers to a drinking game and was invented in 2010 when a Yankee game was canceled. And you can see Schatzi here, who is one of the entertainment clowns. Only a few names included an implication of the clown's ignorance and stupidity. Examples include Dr. Peccadillo means a small fault or mistake. Dr. Quiche means a work of art in bad taste. But only one of the entertainment clowns had a name with this implication, and that was Goofus the clown. Goofus means a foolish, stupid, or inept person. So there was a wide variation in name choice and creation, reflecting originality and individualism. The medical clowns seemed to show more originality than the entertainment clowns. Not all names seem humorous or witty, and especially in the entertainment clowns. And maybe they were just meant to be cute or endearing, as there were two of those clowns just called Zoe. The strong difference found in the use of diminutive forms between the entertainment and hospital clown names could be culturally or linguistically explained. In English, we usually put a Y or IE on the end of a word, but we could also add other morphemes like et and kin and ling and et and let. In French, with the feminine words, a word is made diminutive with the use of et. But in masculine words, it can be the use of et, ot, on, or ou. So le canard is a duck, but le caneton is a duckling. However, it appears that in the very rare cases where French names implied a diminutive meaning, it was done another way, such as using the word for small, as in Dr. Petit Pas, small steps. Or the name itself implies someone or something small, such as Lushka, which is a Russian name, popular in France, and is the name for a baby girl. The limitations of this study are that the sample is small, it is restricted geographically. There are language differences between the two groups in that many of the Canadian names from Quebec were in French. The clowns were not interviewed to ask them the story of how they chose their name. Entertainment clowns have a much greater variety of roles, so we might expect their names to show a greater variety of meanings. As clowns, especially hospital clowns, now exist worldwide in far more than 10 countries, additional cross-linguistic research could further investigate cultural and linguistic comparisons of their names. We could also have participants rate different clown names as to how funny they are perceived. So this is just an initial exploratory study of clowns and their names, with the potential for a more in-depth, particularly qualitative research in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that fascinating paper. I'd like to open up the floor for questions. Does anyone have any questions for Evangeline? Here, yes, we have Mary Ann raising your hand.
I agree, fascinating. And you've introduced us to this whole subculture. And my question is, from the beginning, when you were giving the taxonomy of clown types, hobo and another one, and Auguste, which is a name. And so I wondered, where did that come from, Auguste? Is that a historical person, a clown innovator, or what?
I'm not sure of the answer for that. When I first got into the clowning world, that what I was taught. I'm sure it has a history, and now you mention it, I will go and look for it. It sounds like it could be after someone's name, but I would just be guessing if I said that was the case.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Sarah, I see your hand is raised.
Hi, Eva, thank you. This was really interesting. I'm struck by your comment that there is very little wordplay. That seems surprising in a clowning context, and really like a contrast to drag queen names and also roller derby names, both of which are very much filled with wordplay. And so I'm wondering if you've looked into that literature at all, and if you have any ideas of why clown names would not have a lot of wordplay.
Yes, there wasn't a huge amount of ambiguity. There was the alliteration and the rhyming. So there was a sound play, but actual word manipulation and more double meanings that I would have expected, I didn't find. Certainly the literature you're suggesting would be a good idea for me to look at. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? And while we're waiting, I have one too. I was really struck by the international character of this clown culture that you're speaking about. You mentioned Canada, Israel, and Japan as being examples of where we can find this phenomenon of clowns in hospitals. And so I'm really wondering about the sort of perhaps the international character of the clown names themselves. You mentioned several French names. There was one sort of name with German origins. Were there any other sort of maybe etymological origins that were outside of French and English that you encountered in this database?
I struggled with one or two words. One I found was Maltese, and so the one or two that I struggled from other languages, I wondered that even if people were living in the US or in Canada, they may have come from another country. And if I didn't know their real names, then it would be hard to tell, possibly. In southern Texas here, of course, we have a lot of German influence. So I wasn't surprised to find a few German names amongst the clown names in Texas. Yes, I think exploring other countries and clown names would be a great idea. Israel now has a graduate program in hospital clowning, so you can get an advanced degree in it. So they take it very seriously in their pediatric hospitals. Yes, it would be great to explore and compare with different clown groups that maybe don't call themselves clowns. I'm thinking of the masquerades in some African countries. So I think there are quite a few possibilities with this.
Thank you. I see one comment in the chat. Alexa mentions maybe wordplay and puns are just lost on kids. I don't know if you have a response to that or any thoughts.
You know, a lot of humor, and I'm finding it in children's literature and poetry. There is a different kind of ambiguity. It is partly addressed to adults and partly to children. So children may pick up on some of the simpler humor, but certainly there's literature, children's literature, where there's a partial appeal to adult humor, I think, with the wordplay. Yes, so sometimes people create words and humor with an idea of two audiences. That would be my view.
Anecdotally, I completely agree with you. Having a toddler of 20 months old, there's media targeted toward us as the parents, just as much as it is targeted toward him as well. Well, thank you so much for this paper. What other sorts of, I know you've done other studies and work on this sort of clown culture. What other readings would you recommend to the folks in this at this conference that you've done in this field before?
I didn't include the slides with all the websites and references. I was trying to cut everything short to the 20 minutes. But yes, I've done work on humor in family slang and the way that, and I've published that, the way that families create words, they think no one else has ever created before. But I found that many times, they already existed in urban slang or by other families. And those were sources of humor within families, that kind of private wordplay, I would say. So I have done that, and I have looked at words and names in different children's literature.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, we'll move on to our next presentation.